Welcome one, welcome all. Welcome to the Mage and the Werewolf, part 2 of an improv story. Um, my improv stories are done where I have general ideas here and there of what I may or may not do, but I do all this in one recording, and no matter how bad it may get, because the last one I ended up almost falling asleep on, but and I do all this with all off the top of my head. None of the ideas I may have throughout the week may work, and none of and all of them may work. So let's get into it. As our mage was looking over at our werewolf compatriot, she saw a shadow coming up behind him. She was thinking in her head, I really don't want to get involved in some shady shit with a lichen, even though I don't understand why a lichen would be way out here anyway. And how he has a split personality too from his wolf. That's a little odd. As I can definitely tell there was at least two different personalities there. Wonder if he's a crazy werewolf. Like in uh look back over the edge. Before she was about to cast the spell down at the shadow, the James Lee whipped around, and while he was turning around, he transformed into his a lichen form without barely anything. Interesting. And struck out at the shadow coming up behind him. His claws went directly through the shadow. Huh. She ends up casting her spell anyway, even though she is cloaked at the moment. And the next thing you hear is, ah! A guy screaming. How the fuck is there a mage around here? Or a witch? Or a magic user? As soon as he became visible, though, the werewolf was inches away and ends up grabbing both of his arms and yanking, full on yanking both out of their sockets, not quite ripping them off the body, even though he wanted to. He got deep into the dude's face. What is your business? Because as far as he could tell, he couldn't smell any killing intent off this dude. But some of the best assassins in the world, you wouldn't be able to. I was. He looks at the guy and crunches down really hard, gritting his teeth. And then the dude's eyes started actually pulsating for a second, and then pop. Both of them went pop. Blood started spraying everywhere, and then he heard small explosions throughout all the organs of his body, including his brain. Like, boom, like the whole chest went up here, um, in his gut, and for in his both of his knees too, which then he fell dead. The werewolf, like a fucking assassin. Fuck. I hate damn assassins, but how the fuck did he get corporeal? Starts looking around but can't see anything. While the mage was like, how did I do that? Why can't I just. I feel something towards him. Well, fuck. I'm gonna go ahead and go see the queen. Maybe I can learn a little bit more about what this so-called mate bond is. But I'm gonna. Then she jumps directly off the roof and back in the main street close to the alley. Decloaksify herself and leans up against the building, where the lichen um catches her scent again and walks out of the alley and looks directly at her. Of course, he changed back into his human form, and he says, am I really that scary where you don't want to do it? Where you want to reject me? She sighs. It ain't that I want to reject you or not. It's the fact that ends between werewolves and humans are very unlikely. From a lot of the books and stuff I read, I won't feel the exact same way as you do right straight from the get go. You at least understand that, right? How are you so knowledgeable about werewolves? I used to read a lot. A lot. I worked for the government for a time, and some of my duties were to understand each race and try to help de escalate conflicts. Of course, with a team. So I wasn't the only one, but you learn quite a bit. But I finally retired yesterday. I went to go finally chill at a pub, and boom, I get hit with growling and you're my mate. But, and you do realize as a human, I am not going to feel everything you do right away. I mean, you're definitely hot. And when you touched me earlier, but I'm not just gonna be able to, oh, yep, I trust you, you're my mate. Let's go, hey, let's have pups. No, I'm human. he goes, yeah, I can understand that. I mean, and she pipes in, it's like, why wouldn't you want to reject me anyway? Because I'm human. He looks directly into her eyes. I have been waiting hundreds of years to finally find my mate. I don't care if you were an octopus. I would have still wanted you. Keep in mind, if you were an actual fish that didn't have any feelings one way or another, I think I would be saying that'd be gone insane. But that being said, you get what I mean. She slaps her head. Well, alright, how about we go on a date and go from there? And maybe you want to do some research into um mankind a little bit too. He chuckles. So let's make it not this Saturday, but the Saturday after. Do have some business I have to do. And then she pulls out her phone and, do you have a phone? Like, yes, I do. He pulls out a phone out of her pocket. Okay, one break here. The werewolves and the lycanthropes on this planet are able to use a little bit of magic, and most of their actual magic is more like spatial type stuff, and it's only a touch of it. So it's like they can store their stuff if they're more in tune with it into the spatial thing. So when they turn back into human, everything ain't destroyed. She gets this automatically without even thinking about it, but I just explaining that because that's going to be different between a few different things. And he is able to transform into a lichen and an actual just wolf too. But that will be a little bit more explained later on. But all right, back to the story. Sorry about that. All right, is that all right with you? And then we can actually go. I'll let you plan the date, but we'll meet here at this bar, outside of the bar, and then we can go find out. And then we can actually see if this is worth anything. But that's all I can promise you. I'm really not a people person. He grins a little bit. Yeah, most people do suck. But I'm not people, I'm a werewolf. He's a playful joke. Ha ha ha. Very funny. She kind of. And then she turns around and kisses him on the forehead. I will see you soon, lover boy. When she put her lips on his skin, she felt such a pleasurable feeling pulsate through her body. Like, and think about this right now. She pulls back, and he feels it too. But he also understands this is more of the things about with being mates and everything. She looks at him. No promises about if this goes any further or not. We'll actually have to do this more the human way. And I know you might get impatient, but alright. I'll see you later. He turns around and flips off like a, and then walks into a crowd of people where she teleports back to her vehicle. He doesn't notice the teleport. He's kind of still daydreaming over the kiss before, like, oh shit, she's already gone. All right, James Lee, the lycanthrope werewolf. I am going into his first, or POV James Lee, the werewolf. All right, he does a mind link to his beta. Like, get over here pretty quickly. We need to discuss a few things. Yes, sir. Next thing, about 5 minutes later, you see a wolf dancing on top of the roofs, jumping down next to our protagonist. It transforms. It takes him just a second to transform. Like I said, not everybody is like our protagonist, not at least. And you'll find out a little bit more about him soon. Well, one, he looks at him and is like, um, we have a problem. Somebody just sent a shadow assassin after me. Are you okay, Alpha? Like, yes, I'm okay, but not sure exactly how. I know somebody fired off some magic, but I don't know who. My mind's kind of been put off by me finding my mate. Yeah, I heard about that. Where is she? Or him? Funny, but she's human. He stops. Human? That's odd for a human to be here of all places. Yes, it is. Even more odd that this ain't the first time I've felt her before. I just didn't know exactly what it was. Really? Yeah, kind of weird in a lot of ways. Why do you say that? Unless it's daughter or something. I kind of felt her like over 200 years ago. Huh. I wonder if she's a cultivator of some kind. I heard some humans contribute with nature. Or she could be a magic user of some kind. I'm pretty sure she is. That would also make more than likely make her way older than me. I mean, you were afraid that you were going to find an 18-year-old. So true. I did not want that to happen. Thank you, Moon Goddess, for that. She chuckles for a second. Well, or he chuckles for a second. Sorry about that. Um, they both start laughing. But seriously, you need to I'm gonna have to start carrying a magic blade around and stuff just in case if we see any more assassins come about, and also inform our pack guards and everything. We may need to try to hire some witches from one of the witches clans to see if they can't help us scout in the and go on some patrols with us for a time or two. Well, yeah, that would actually be a good idea. I'll get right on that, boss. Alpha, whatever. He shakes his head. What am I going to do with you? Uh, just because I'm your beta, also your best friend, boss. Get out of here. I'm going home. He gets into this four-wheeler looking thing. Looks more like a go-kart, but with some dramatically big wheels on there. And he takes off towards his home. He don't actually live directly in the pack house anymore because of how many people have gotten hurt from different assassination attempts and stuff from all the different lands that he's forcibly had to conquer. He's more a keep of the peace guy, but he has a reputation of being brutal and for good reason. As he was driving home, and she's definitely a magic user, and he said to work for the government. Uh, the wind blowing. This is always peaceful with the wind blowing. Sometimes I wish I would, instead of being a fucking lichen, I wish I could have been like a bird or something, or a horse. Then his felt like a punch in the gut, kinda. Still wonder how the heck this actually happened. Well, powerful royal blood next to powerful royal blood. What do you think that's gonna happen? You're not wrong. So, uh, I shit. I hate thinking about this type of shit, but from all the research I've actually done, the partner that my mom was with at the time that she cheated on dad with has to be of one of the first line of werewolves and has to be one of the most pure, or you wouldn't even exist, Gray. You're not wrong there. You are not wrong there. Ugh. Alright, let's get home. We both need some rest between that war and drinking with our some of the top lieutenants and stuff. Ugh. We definitely need some sleep. The mages POV. And yes, I kind of got that from some of the books and stuff that I've read. So, yeah. Anyway, the mage's POV. He finally makes it to her car. He's like, oh, come on, leave this right here. She teleports back to her place, goes down, grabs a bite to eat. What a day. Well, I guess I need to find out more tomorrow. I'm gonna show up this late at night at the Royal Palace. Lord. But anyway, she gives her a small bite to eat, drinks her a beer or two, and heads off to sleep. She wakes up early in the morning, stretches, does some exercise and stuff, and she looks around her apartment like, you know, if I didn't know I was a girl, I would think this would be in a boy's apartment except for the closets. She looks around like, I have a full gym here under glass doors and walls, and a whole lot of meat. I wonder if I was a werewolf in my past life. Maybe that would explain something too. She giggles. Damn, that guy was fine. But I wonder how much of that is the mate bond and how much of it is just my initial attraction to the man. But I kind of glad that I had done it that way, because if he wouldn't have, I would have just slept with him and moved on. But damn. But enough about that. Time to go see an old friend. She puts her hand up against her head and goes poof. Saying, she's teleports right in front of a big ass gate. Two wolves immediately start pointing their spears at the woman, while two or three people on top of the start pointing their guns at her. State your business, witch! He's like, get that out of my face. Don't make me. He casts a paralyzing spell on all 50 wolves that were right there. He pulls out her phone, calls the queen, which, hey, what are you calling me this early for? And don't everybody get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning? No. Huh. Oh well, get your ass up and get out here at the gate. I'm actually here to actually see you. What? You haven't seen me in 150 years, but yet you just randomly come today after some stuff happened, and I really do need to talk to you about it. Okay, let me get dressed right quick. And it's like, wait, did you have any problems with the guards? Yeah, they're just frozen in time. They'll be okay. Unfreeze the guards. Why? That's so funny. Unfreeze the guards, please. Fine. She takes a step or two back, unfreezes all the guards, which gets like a little bit of a jolt. They get put, and then the queen speaks a word out that is only knowable to the werewolf guards. Says, leave this person alone here. I'm about to come and collect her. She's our special guest for today. Why are you coming, Queen? Why are you coming to see her directly? She's an old friend of mine. Leave her alone. There ain't no way you'd be able to do anything against her or anything if he wanted to. Shit, if she really wanted to, you guys would be dead and there'd be nothing we'd be able to do about it. The two guys in front of her went wide. Both of them bring up their spears and walk back to the gate. Wait here for a moment, ma'am. I heard she was on speakerphone. He gritted his teeth. Really? Yep, really. And then a few moments later, the two doors open wide. Like, come along. Uh, oh, no hug, no. How you doing? You want something. I already know you want something. The only time you ever really come here. Let's go and sit and have some lunch or breakfast. Shit, it's only 7 o'clock in the morning. 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Actually 5:59 when I got here, so probably about 6:50. Why do I have to get? Need to wait another 150 years before you come back here? She said jokingly. Uh, I do need to come back and see my old friend now I'm retired anyway, so you convinced me. You gonna lie again? I did come to get information too, but I did actually miss my friend. We did have a lot of fun together back in the day. Too much fun, if I remember right. A slight blush happened on the mage's face. Really? Don't bring up all of that. Hey, I didn't find my mate until way later on. And shit, my firstborn was kind of a half breed before I found my mate, and then I had several pups from him. Really? Yeah, but he's gone now. Like, what do you mean gone? Like, he died. There was a struggle of power of who is gonna take over as king whenever we. I tried to keep all of that away from everybody and said we're gonna decide when the time comes, but my firstborn with my liking mate kinda did away with all that and ended up killing him on accident. I'm sorry. Gave her a little hug. Yeah, it is what it is. A couple tears. And she pulls out this purse that she has right beside her. It's like, how do you carry a purse around? I knew I was going to be sitting down with you and eating, so I brought some pictures. I mean, I haven't seen you in that long. I mean, I do remember that. Like, your firstborn was about 300 years old? Would have been 300 years old? Yep, somewhere around there. Where your second born would have been about 100, about 200 by now. Yep, and because of my line, he grows very slowly. Royal blood werewolves. Lycanthrope. Or lichen, she said with a growl. Touchy, touchy, touchy. What a touchy werewolf. She growls for a second when she stops. You know I'm messing with you, pats her on the shoulder. Alright, let's go get something to eat. So they chit chat back and forth about different things that's happened here and there. And they finally get to the table, and this girl walks up to him and it's like, what would you, Queen's guest, what would you like to eat this morning? He said, giggity with a smile. Um, Steak, the Queen said. You know, make that 2 steaks. Right away, ma'am. What would you like? Probably a sausage, steak, and cheese biscuit. 2 of them. Yes, ma'am. He said with a smile. And a cola of some kind. Will do. Do you want anything to drink, Queen? Yeah, a some juice. Some orange juice, if that you don't care. Like, not a problem, ma'am. And she scurried away back to the kitchen. She pulls out a picture out from her purse and puts a bunch of pictures down. Like, yeah. She points at the last one. This is my little girl. This is my little girl, Sarah. This is my other little girl, which is a year or two older than Sarah, is Misty. Then you have Zach and Jimothy, which is my oldest. And here is, he points at the picture, Jimmy Lee. Jimsy. We all called him Jimmy Lee, but his actual name was Jimothy Taylor. And my last name, Lunar. But everybody used to call him Jimmy Lee. So that's what we all just called him. She picks up the photo, looks at it, looks up at her, looks at her. What? You look like you've seen a ghost. In my life, I might have. No, just looks like somebody that I used to know a long time ago. A long time ago she was talking about was like a few days ago. A so similar name. But yeah, he was my firstborn. My second oldest now, accidentally killed him in a duel. It took me a long time to get over it. But I understand it wasn't really his fault and whatnot. But he wasn't the one with my actual mate I have now, and that was one of the reasons why there was such a big rivalry that he really didn't want any part of. But she, the maid said in her head, you weren't joking. You said you wanted me to pair you up with one of your sons. Wonder how big of a secret that is. She said in the back of her mind. He smiles a little bit, but then he looks back up to. So, what was the. I had kind of a blink for about 50 to 60 years after we finally made the Concords to put all of the werewolf and lichen nations under the royal and actually give more everyone a little bit more of a freedom and choices of their own. I got with one of the alphas, one of the ancient alphas that was just about as royal as you could get, really, if you were talking about lineage between me and him. But anyway, I had a son with him, and then about a few years after he was born, he ended up dying in a very public accident that I really don't want to get back into. Let's just say that organization really, yes, I remember that incident. Unfortunately, I really do remember. While to actually calm your ass down. People thought we was going to end up having to try to kill you, and that would have caused a whole bigger, different ball game. Yes, that really would have. Ugh. Thank God that got you calmed down. And then shortly after that is when you found your real mate, right? Yep, that I did. I've been trying to hook you up with one of my sons ever since. Ugh, right. So he was one of the ancient werewolves line. He wouldn't shouldn't have died that hard, depending on which line it was. He was part of the original line. The Zonars. Her eyes went big. What? Those wolves were especially high in magic, especially with their spatial magics and stuff. Your firstborn was a zonar? Yes. She said cheerfully. Holy shit. Chief, why would that matter to you? She started to get a little irritated that it was. Alright, can I ask you a question? What? And isn't there a. Wait, hold on. She flicked the spell out, and a translucent dome went around both of them, holding them both tight in. Alright, that's better. Why did you put up a silent dome? Because I don't want anything to get out, which what I'm about to tell you. For one, I have a mate. Or apparently there's a werewolf that thinks I'm his mate. It's probably true because Even the signs for me being a human are still there, but I still need more information about it. You're mated to a, and not one of my sons? Damn, who's the lucky wolf? Yeah, that's the thing. That's, before we talk about that, how proficient was he at spatial transformations when the incident happened with your oldest? What do you mean? Like, do you think it's possible that he could have faked his death? Her eyes went big. Why would you need to put up a silent thing to talk, say this nonsense? And then she stopped for a second. All right, before I answer that question, why are you asking me that? Why? Because I think you got your wish. If, unless he, I'm pretty sure you got your wish. And I'm also pretty sure that these, your lichen mate was your second chance mate too. How did you, taking everything in consideration, that's exactly what it looks like. Oh Lord. But why would my son want, fuck, the rivalry between this two? But wait, she flips out her phone, hands it to her, and this, before I hand this to you, this is Mage. Um, this is the phone that I developed myself. One of the reasons why I developed it is to get the, it goes along more spectrums when it takes pictures and can detect lies and all that good old jazz. Jazz, earth sands. But anyway, and looks at her picture and she searches. Holy shit, he's alive. Yeah, and made it to me apparently. She said, and made it to, huh? Everything started to click. Wait, what? My boy ain't just alive, but he's made it to you? Don't sound so disappointed. Jeez. She just starts bawling and looks up and it's like, I'm sorry, but honestly, I think I kind of already knew. Wait, what? Every time you came around, every time you came around, he was gone for one. Two, you want to accepted him back then, so good that you didn't. But every time you came around, he could sniffed you out perfectly everywhere you went, and he couldn't figure out why it was so important to him or what was so different. Like, he smiles, but I can't believe that you met him and you're mated to him. She smiles deep. Do not let anybody know about this, especially your husband. Why? He'd be overjoyed too, wouldn't he? There's a reason why he kept silent and never told you anything. What? Because he's protecting his brother. Because he didn't want his brother to go down a path. And at the time, I doubt he thought he was even a Lycan to begin with. Because about the same, because of both sides of him, he is a late bloomer. If I had to bet. How did you know that? Dude sides. That's what I was kind of feeling that was a little bit off about him. He's actually a werewolf and a Lycan, which gives him two personalities. I could have. That makes so much more sense. And he knew that if he would have ended up having to fight his brother, that he wouldn't be able to fight him because he loves his brother for the position of the king. Even though it's all changed now, but still, expectations and stuff, and everybody hated him. You're not wrong. You're really not wrong, he said sadly. Well, anyway, I do need a little bit more information on what mates, and especially mates that are human wolf relation. More werewolf than Lycan because I think that's, but kind of both. Alright, let's go to the library. Alright. And they both then start going off to the library to start studying the mate bond between, because as much as she doesn't want anybody, she knows that things happen for a reason. You just don't know what that reason is for yet. But she was serious about actually dating the dude. And keep this more towards like a regular relationship that evolves into marriage, which would be eight and all this good old stuff, and how if she doesn't need to go ahead and reject him because of her body, which her body is severely abnormal because of she accidentally fell into a pocket of pure magic when she was roughly about 21 years old, which she later found out it was the lifeblood of the actual planet itself. Hinting at why she was so powerful, but at ever since that time, she was never able to age again. She's gotten checked out multiple times. She's still human. She just will not age her. But the story is ending here. If you enjoyed the story, like I said before, every 4 likes will guarantee that another chapter will happen. If you want to leave a comment, see how it did. um, your thoughts, or if you have any ideas of how we can move forward. Any idea can put thoughts in my head and see how it works. But like I said, these are all done off the top of my head, all improv. May have a few ideas here and there, but nothing that explosive. So peace out, everybody. Have fun, and thank you for sticking with me this long. If you did, peace.